Faithful, your San Francisco 49ers made several free agency moves and a few trades. But did they make the right decisions? Let's get it. Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. All right, faithful, I've got to say it. I need to go ahead and get this out of the way. The Niners did exactly what I thought they were going to do thus far this offseason. They didn't go out and blow budget on one flashy superstar. Instead, they made multiple smart moves to improve this roster. And honestly, I love the approach. This team did not need just one savior. They needed depth, impact players, and they really made some moves, I feel like, that were smart roster building decisions. And today I want to break down the moves that actually matter. I'm not talking about the re-signing of a long snapper. I understand that's important. I do. I'm not talking about picking up a swing tackle. I'm talking about that dude, the one, Michael Evans III. This is the move, guys, that made some serious headlines. The addition of Mike Evans. Now, I know that some people are going to say he's on the wrong side of 30, and there are some concerns with the injuries that he sustained last season. And I get that. I understand that. I have eyes. I'm aware. But let's go ahead and get this right out of the way. This man, when healthy, can still play at a very high level. I would actually argue in this system, in a Kyle Shanahan offense, if healthy, he can play at an elite level. Let's break down these contract details. You're looking at 3 years, base salary of $42.4 million. It's a total of $60.4 million with some incentives. The guaranteed money is only $16.3 million. And for a player of Evans' caliber, that's actually a very reasonable deal. And this is why I feel like he fits so perfectly in this system, specifically with Brock Purdy. Evans is going to get a ton of one-on-one opportunities in this offense. With all the weapons that the 49ers already have, defenses simply cannot double every single player out there on the field. He is going to have a lot of space to work with in a Kyle Shanahan schemed-up offense. I can only imagine the things that Kyle's thinking of right now to do with Mike Evans in this system. But the two places I think where Mike Evans is really going to shine, obviously in the red zone, obviously on third downs. And here's something that really stands out. If you think about my man Brock, when Brock Purdy is a little bit off his game, he tends to miss high or throw high. Guess what? That's right in Mike Evans' wheelhouse. At 6'5", one of the best catch radiuses in all of football, those slightly high thrown balls become easy completions for a man that big. Let's look at these career stats from a man, Mike Evans. 866 receptions, 13,052 receiving yards, 108 touchdowns, 15.1 yards per catch, 6 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, Super Bowl champion, 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start his NFL career. He's one of the very few receivers in NFL history to have over 12,000 yards and 100 touchdowns. This puts him in legendary company, faithful. You're talking about my man Jerry Rice. You're talking about Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison. You're talking about some of the GOATs, the best receivers ever played a game. I know that we do not like the if word. Okay, I get that. But man, if this dude stays healthy, this could be something absolutely special. In this offense, he's going to see space, favorable matchups, and a quarterback who throws with anticipation. That's going to be dangerous on the field. And look, faithful, Mike Evans could have went anywhere. He could have. Okay? This guy is all business and no ego. He could have gone elsewhere and played with somebody else, but he chose to come to this system. He chose to come and play with Brock Purdy because he knows his stuff. He knows exactly the opportunity that he's going to have playing in this system. And I think it's going to be quite beautiful. Can you imagine a world where, if healthy, let's say magically it happens week 1, right? Let's say everybody's there. CMC, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, Mike Evans. That's a lot to deal with, and I'm interested in seeing what the LA Rams are going to do about that when we play them in Australia in week 1's opener. I realize that they got a really good secondary, and that's great and good. But it's going to be nice to see all that on the field at one time. Hopefully we'll be able to put that product out there on the field. Maybe even get a couple of those 4-3 receivers that we have, those young guys coming out there and being able to contribute as well. All right, let's talk about another move that the Niners made. Osa Odighizuwa. Now, this move may not have gotten the same headlines as the Mike Evans deal, but football people understand how important this particular move is for the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners needed some interior pass rush very badly, and they've messed around and got themselves a good one. If I'm not mistaken, the 49ers for interior pass rush had 5.5 sacks that came from the interior. Now, mind you, they only had 20 sacks for the entire regular season. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I feel that the San Francisco 49ers will have more. I want to repeat it. Have more than 20 sacks already by midseason of next year. They're going to eclipse that total by midseason. That's my prediction. Let's talk about the trade details. The 49ers traded a 2026 third-round pick and essentially inherited 3 years remaining of a 4-year, $80 million contract. This year, it's going to be $16.75 million, fully guaranteed. Next year is $20 million, and the year after that is going to be $20 million. Edge rushers, faithful, they get a lot of attention, but interior pressure can absolutely wreck an offense. When pressure comes right up the middle, quarterbacks have nowhere to step up into the pocket. You think about a scenario where we roll out a healthy Nick Bosa, a healthy Mykel Williams, and a healthy Osa. Matt Stafford, on that first game of the season, may have Osa right up in his grill, and that could cause him some serious problems getting the ball out. So let's look at these statistics. Okay, in 2025, this man had 52 pressures. In 2024, he had 60 pressures. 15.1% pass rush win rate, 81 career quarterback hits. Here's a crazy one. This is insane. Since the start of 2024, this man has had 32 pressures. 32 pressures, faithful, when double teamed. That's the most in the NFL. That's wild. And again, the 81 quarterback hits, that's through 5 seasons. That's some wild stuff. And if we think about it, the Cowboys' defense last season, what's a word I can use to describe it? The word buns comes to mind. These pressure numbers have to be respected. These numbers are real. And you can't ignore back-to-back seasons with this type of elite pressure totals from a defensive tackle. But this is the big picture. This is the big picture. What he can do in the scheme, what he can do with a Nick Bosa and a Mykel Williams. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be something special. I do. want to talk briefly about the signing of Jake Tonjes. I think this is a really smart continuity move. I do. There were times last season, man, where Jake really stepped up. Everybody remembers the catch that he made in week 1 against the Seahawks, really snagging the ball out of the air that could have possibly been an interception and won us that football game. And there was a few other times, man, where he absolutely flashed as a wide receiver. Now, it wasn't all clean. He definitely made some mistakes. There were some blocking issues. Let's see what he can do this year. I like the fact that we actually re-signed this guy. He's familiar with the system. He's familiar with the offense. And if he were to take a step forward, that would be a big deal for this offense, especially if my man George isn't able to go week 1. I know that's something that he wants to – I know that's something that he's mentioned, that he feels he's going to be ready for week 1. I'm not about to open my mouth and say that I doubt George Kittle, but I'm saying it's a very serious injury that he's coming back from, so we'll have to see. Now, the late breaking news, the return of Dr. Dre Greenlaw. 1 year, $7.5 million. Now, this is the exact deal that I love. We all know who Dre Greenlaw is, what he is, and again, that if word, what he can be if healthy on this team. I want to say this again. It's 2 players now. Faithful, Dre Greenlaw re-signed for a cheese sandwich. I really feel like he could have held out for some more money and went somewhere else. I know that there were some rumors about him going to the Tennessee Titans. I'm confident he could have gotten more money than $7.5 million with another team, and I'm sure this deal has some incentives for him to even get to the $7.5 million. I really feel like Dre wanted to come back to the Bay. I also feel as though he wants to play with Fred Warner again. And when healthy, we know he is that dude. He brings sideline to sideline speed. He sets the tone as a tackler. And he's an emotional leader on defense. If he can stay healthy, the Warner-Greenlaw duo could be one of the best in the NFL. And when you step back and you look at the offseason as a whole, the 49ers didn't make any reckless moves. They made smart roster moves thus far. And I really feel like we're not done. I know there's been some breaking news that Bryce Huff just retired from the NFL. He posted that on his socials. And I feel like they're going to restructure Trent's deal. We all know the inevitable, that BA is probably going to get cut. I'm sure that we're trying to hold out to see if we can get anything done in a trade to try to get something back for that from that whole debacle. But yeah, I really feel like we might make an edge move for somebody that's left in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised. I hope it's not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the one Joey Bosa. I'm absolutely content with the Niners. This draft coming up, Faithful, is really deep. There's a lot of talent here in these first few rounds of the draft. I'm completely comfortable with the San Francisco 49ers taking the best edge available at 27. I truly am. But I don't think we're done just yet. I wouldn't be surprised if any moment now we get some breaking news that the 49ers have made another move or another trade to help that edge. Yeah, so that's today's show, guys. They added a future Hall of Famer, receiver, a legitimate interior pass rusher, depth and continuity for the offense, brought back a defensive leader. If this team can stay remotely healthy, the 49ers are going to cause some serious noise, some serious problems for the NFC. If you enjoyed the breakdown today, please remember to like and subscribe. It absolutely helps out the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think will have the biggest impact. Which one of these signings have the biggest impact? As always, guys, take care, be blessed, and go Niners.